At this point I maybe have asked her if she's out of her mind. So I go upstairs, ring her doorbell, and I'm like, "It's from you." She actually put her hand into my bin with my dirty laundry. Hello internet! This is Irina, the Siberian who's gone international and who's been away for quite a long time. But I have a good excuse. My life has been on pause because I've discovered this super addictive TV series La Casa de Papel, and I just cannot stop watching it. I mean, usually when I'm watching a TV series, you know, they always tend to end each episode with a cliffhanger, so you're really tempted to turn on the next one. But what I do in those situations, I just wait for a boring moment and then I like close down my laptop and try to go do something useful. But in this case, they barely have any boring scenes there. And I don't know, honestly, it's one of the bestest TV series I've ever seen, and I'm totally in love with that. And now it took me so much effort to put it on pause and come here to film another video. But at least I'm getting something useful out of it. I'm watching it in Spanish with English subtitles, so I'm expanding my Spanish vocabulary a bit, and now I can say "las manos sobre la cabeza" or "¿Qué cojones haces?" I know, really useful. Also, when I was watching it, I recalled that my boxing coach in the UK used to call me Helsinki, so I had a nickname with the city name in it before it got cool, yeah? Okay, I'm gonna shut up about this TV series that I'm totally in love with right now, but this is not what this video is about. In this video, I wanted to tell you this epic story which has been ongoing for 2 years. It's about my upstairs neighbor, and I think the world has to hear it. So let's begin. So as I said, I moved into this apartment 3 years ago, and the apartment was in a horrible state. It has never been renovated since the 70s, and it was really ugly. My inner aesthetic person had a seizure every time I was looking at all of this because I had a claustrophobic kitchen. Everything was really old and ugly, and that was the plan, to buy an apartment which is not in a good state and then renovate it and live in it, because it's cheaper than buying a fully renovated apartment. And my dad, he is really good at renovating stuff, so he's basically done it by himself. So on the day when we were carrying some stuff in, my parents came to help, and I haven't seen this lady myself, but I think she approached my mom, and at some point she told her that she's so glad that somebody else is moving in because the previous owners were horrible and they were making so much noise in the bathroom. And at that point I didn't pay much attention to that, because judging by the state my bathtub was in, I could totally believe that they were doing some sacrifices to Satan in that bathroom. So I thought maybe she has a point. So I moved in, and it didn't take me a long time to hear from her. So the encounter number one. One Friday night I arrived home pretty late, maybe around midnight, and decided to take a bath, because why not? I've been living without a bath for the last, I don't know, 10 years, and I love baths, so I decided to take advantage of that. So I was like sitting in the bath, watching a TV series on my laptop or something, and the next day she called me and tells me that I'm being real loud, that she cannot sleep, and that she has a breast cancer. And you know, the fact that she has a breast cancer has significantly affected my attitude toward all of that. I didn't want to create troubles for a person with a cancer, so I told her that yeah, okay, I'll try to be quieter. And then the next Friday it happened again that I came home late. I had plans for Saturday, and I have to wash my hair before I go to sleep because it takes forever for them to dry, so there is just no time in the morning to do all of that, and it's just like the way my hair works. So I decided to take the shower like super quietly. I, you know, barely opened the water. I would turn it off every time I was applying shampoo or conditioner, and I think sometime during the next week I accidentally bumped into her, and I asked her if she heard anything last Friday, and she said no, that it was quiet. And I was like, well, okay, cool, apparently this strategy works, so if I will ever have to wash my hair after 11 p.m. again, I will just do it this way. And then another Friday arrives. I again come home late, and I decided to wash my hair the same way as the previous Friday, and I remember I put coconut oil in my hair because it's supposed to be good for your hair. So I come to the bathroom, open the tap not to the fullest, but just a little bit, and try to start washing my hair. when I hear that somebody's banging on the pipes. And I was like, shit, well, yeah, I don't want to disturb a person with the cancer, so I guess I just have to close the water and do something in the morning. And remember, I have this greasy coconut oil in my hair, so it's not just dirty hair, it's greasy hair, like super greasy hair. So what I did in this situation, I took this rubber hat, put it on my hair like this, and slept like this the whole night until 8 AM. And trust me, this is not a comfortable way to sleep when you have your hair full of coconut oil and this rubber hat through which your skin cannot breathe, and also like your whole hair is kind of moist and greasy and blah. But I did that. And I did that even though it was super uncomfortable. I remember I couldn't fall asleep until like 3 or 4 in the morning because it's, well, try sleeping in that hat with your hair all wet. And I had to wake up at 8 AM in order to wash my hair and dry it and so on. So I haven't heard from her that week, but a few days later, or a week later, I remember I came home at like 6, took a shower or a bath at 7, and then I took a nap until 23:30 when my friend came, and when I got a call that he's downstairs, I went to brush my teeth. While I was brushing my teeth, I received this amazing message. Basically, it said silence between 11 PM and 7 AM, and well, in Finnish it says shh, others might be already sleeping, and sleeping is like underlined. Yeah, I don't know where did she get these pictures. They have the VR logo on them. VR is the, no, not a company, but let's say a company which operates trains in Finland, so I guess these are the reminders for the passengers to be quiet. So yeah, when I was washing my face to wake up from the nap, I received this, and I didn't have the time to deal with that then, so I went downstairs, met my friend, gave him a lift home because I needed to borrow his car, so then I came back with the car. It was around 1 AM. I just brushed my teeth and went straight to bed. The next day I come back from work and I get this. Basically it says that you have to obey the rules when you're living in the apartment building, and they are like for everyone. Yeah, this is not a hotel, it's not a spa, or I don't know how to translate it, but like not a public place where people like shower and wash themselves. And I was like, cool. Yeah, I'm not participating in this passive-aggressive exchange of letters. I'm just gonna go and talk to her. So I go upstairs, ring her doorbell, and I'm like, this from you. And her reaction was priceless because she was like, well, maybe. Well, I don't remember if she said maybe, but I remember that she didn't admit it immediately. I don't know if she really thought that I might think it's someone else after she's been mentioning this to me twice already. But then she gives me this speech that, well, she cannot sleep because of me, that I'm not allowed to take shower after 11 PM, that it's so loud, that she doesn't understand what am I doing there, that it's so loud. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I know, I understand, I'm trying to be quieter, but you know, there are some days when you come home late and you need to at least brush your teeth, and how can you do it without water? And then she's like, yeah, but you know, I used to have this cancer. And I'm like, excuse me? So you used to have it, or do you have it now? And turns out that she used to have it like some time ago, but apparently she doesn't mind using this card in any situation now. And you know, there is a difference if you have an actual cancer and if you had it many years ago and you're still using it to manipulate people into treating you differently. And then I told her, well, have you tried earplugs, because they help. And she's like, yeah, they don't help, I have 3 packs of them, none of them work. And I know that they do work. This is not that kind of noise which cannot be blocked by the earplugs. I remember when I was living in the UK with this wannabe DJ housemate who was literally giving out flyers to strangers on the street, inviting them to our house, and then like your bed would be jumping until 5 AM from all the bases. In that situation, earplugs do not make much of a difference. But when it's the sound of running water in the pipes, yeah, earplugs do help. Anyway, she keeps insisting that the sound is awfully loud, and I don't remember whose idea was it to run the experiment that I would go downstairs, turn on the water, come upstairs to listen to it, and I agreed to do that, so we did that. And I come upstairs and it's a regular quiet sound of, you know, some water running in the pipes. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound too loud. And she says that, well, it's because it's daytime, but during the night it sounds much louder. And I'm like, okay, listen, I understand you. I feel sorry that you feel this way. I will try to be quieter. I will do my best not to take a shower after 11 PM. But I cannot promise that there will be never a single day when I will not come home late and I will not need to use the water. But I will try to be quieter, okay? Okay. So that's how that conversation ended. And I was like, okay, this conflict is a bit weird, but I resolved it somehow, like it's sort of a compromise. But then this whole situation has turned into a comedy. One night at 1 AM, I was not taking a shower, like at all. I was not using the bathroom. I was just peacefully frying chicken in the kitchen. At 1 AM, yes, but why not? And I get a call from her on my mobile phone. And she's like, you're showering. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, no, you're showering. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, what if I come and check? And I'm thinking that actually that's a really good idea. She's gonna come, see that she's wrong, and then she's gonna leave me alone. And I'm like, okay, you're welcome, come. So in 2 minutes she comes downstairs, like she's just 1 floor above me, and I like welcome her into the apartment. She goes right into my bathroom, looks around, and I tell her, you know, see, it's dry, there is nothing there, I was not showering, you're making the stuff up. And while she's telling me off for being such a loud neighbor who like showers every night, all night long, she starts touching the walls and the bathtub itself, notices that it's dry. At this point I understand that negotiations and any kind of logical reasoning is totally useless. I keep talking, she keeps talking, and somewhere in the middle of this conversation she does something which leaves me speechless. She starts touching my towels, and I'm like, okay. I think at this point I maybe have asked her if she's out of her mind. And then she takes her hand and puts it into the bin with my dirty laundry. I'm not kidding you. Like, she actually put her hand into my bin with my dirty laundry. She was checking if my towels and my dirty clothes are wet, because she was seriously thinking that in these 2 minutes I've dried my whole bathroom in order to trick her into thinking that I wasn't taking a shower while I actually was. And I was like, okay, we're dealing with a crazy person here. All the explanations are pointless. I should just, you know, let it go. She asks me if I live alone here. I'm like, yeah. She's like, why? I cannot understand, because how can one person make so much noise? Are you hiding someone in the wardrobe? At that point I'm just taking this whole situation as a joke, so I'm like, yeah, of course I'm hiding like 2 people there. And then she said that, you know what? I've heard some male voices here. Male voices! Jesus, that is like a really dramatic turn. How do I dare to bring people with male voices to my apartment, right? This is something she totally can tell me off for. And the funny thing is, actually I was able to understand what she's talking about, and it wasn't even like a voice of a real person. It was a YouTube video that I was watching in the bathroom while I was like brushing my teeth or something. So she heard the voice of a YouTube blogger. Then she also told me off for wearing heels sometimes, which is also interesting. She's like above, not below. At that point I understood that all the negotiations are useless. So at that point I was like, okay, I'm not gonna talk to her about this anymore. I'll try not to piss her off too much, but I mean, the more steps towards her I'm making, the more she thinks that she is right. And apparently this is like the only entertainment she has in her life, to be pissed off at her neighbor from downstairs. On top of that, she kept complaining about the renovation work which are ongoing, and yeah, there was some noise, but it was during the day hours. And sorry, but you cannot make the major renovation without making some noise. And I don't know, did she think that I'm supposed to live in this old ugly apartment just in order not to make any noise to bother her? And like, to be clear, this noise, it was not taking, like the whole renovation was taking, yeah, it started in February and ended in July, but there were really long breaks. First my dad came in February, he like took down one of the small walls. Then we had everything on pause for a month while I was collecting all 500 million approvals to remove the bearing wall. Because in order to remove the bearing wall, you need to jump through a lot of hoops. So while I was doing that, nothing was happening. It was quiet. Then yeah, we removed the bearing wall, we did what we could, and that maybe took another 3 weeks of noise here and there. And then it was another 2 or 3 months of absolutely nothing happening while I was waiting for my kitchen counter to arrive. And when my kitchen counter has arrived, we again made some noise installing it and tiling the kitchen walls. So, you know, in total it was maybe a month or like a month and a half of occasional noise. But she was so pissed off about that once me and my mom entered the elevator, and she was right behind us with another granny, who by the way was really sweet. So me and my mom entered the elevator first, and we were waiting like, what is she gonna do? Like, is she gonna come in and go upstairs with us? Is she gonna wait for the next one? But what she does, she opens the door of the elevator, holds it open, and tells me, yeah, you should go by foot. Go upstairs by foot. I'm not gonna close the elevator before you leave. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see who can do it longer. And then I open my phone, start scrolling through the news feeds of all the various apps like Facebook, Instagram, my blog, and I can do that for hours. But it didn't take hours, like she gave up after a couple of minutes, and we, yeah, went upstairs. And at that point, you know, I've done some research, I told about the situation at work. I knew that her demands are absolutely ridiculous and not backed up by any kind of laws, because my friend from work sent me a link to this article which tells that neighbors have absolutely no right to forbid you to take showers any time of the day or night, because there are people who do shifts. And even if the management of the building somehow writes somewhere that you're not supposed to, there is no law which says that this is illegal, so you can shower whenever you want. I will leave the link to the article in the description. So this is the end of the first act of this story. This is not the end of the story, because this ridiculousness has continued in 2019. The events which I've just described happened in 2017, but about the events of 2019 I will tell you in the next video. Thanks for watching, share your thoughts, what do you think about this, have you ever had neighbors like that, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!